So we meet again, and I offer my hand all dry and English slow. And you look at me, and I understand, yeah, it's a look I used to know. 3 long years and your favorite man, is that any way to say hello? And you hold me like you'll never let me go.
Well, hello and welcome to the Holy Hour podcast. It's the bi-weekly All Cure podcast. It's me, Gavin, and I'm joined by Chaz. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Still kicking. It's 2021.
I love how we go. I love how we go into these mini conversations like we haven't been talking for the last.
Totally. Like I just called you up right now. So what's up? How's the family? But I figured we had this topic that we were dying to share with you. You had actually come up with this episode idea, and I thought it'd be
I came up with this idea a while ago just because I know we both talked about mixtapes before and how much they meant to us, and you know, we used to make them for people, and it's like it'd be a pretty cool idea if we made our own Cure mixtape, in which we physically both did. And
you got it nearby? Can we do a little tape rattle for?
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
There you go. Yeah, a little tape rattle to prove we're not full of shit here. We're the real deal in the Holy Hour. So
I originally thought maybe we should do a 60-minute one. Mm-hmm. Just a 60-minute mixtape, and then I started diving into it, and I'm like, man, this is really going to be tough.
Yeah.
To try to fit all those,
especially Cure
all those
songs.
things. Since we're so long. Like, if we were making like a Misfits, like punk one, like 60 minutes is perfect.
Yeah, totally.
But you know, once you start going on the songs that are like 5-6 minutes long, it kind of shrink down your availability to put as much music on it as you can.
Yeah.
So we decided on the 90 minutes. And part of the reason of picking the 9 minutes because that's all I had.
Yeah, I looked at the one tape that I had sitting here too that I knew would not totally sound like garbage if I put music on it. And I was like, yeah, it's a 90-minute, cool. Plus, it was killing my soul having pictures of you on the 60-minute tape, and it was gonna cut off. I think a different song, so I was like, okay, but it fit if I put the radio edit on there. So I was just like, oh god, I hate the fucking radio edit, kills me, you know. So as soon as you said, well, how do you feel about a 90-minute tape? I was like, yes, definitely.
Yeah,
So,
one of the we have a shoebox on our bookshelf that's just filled with blank tapes. And then some also ones that we've recorded because we used to have a car that only had a tape deck. Yeah. So we used to make mixes and buy cassettes a lot whenever we went to like a thrift store or something. And I had probably about 6 90-minute tapes. All of them were open, so I had to check them all to make sure they didn't have music on it. And some of them did, so it was really cool going back to listening to them because they weren't labeled or anything. Yeah. And then, so I found the one that wasn't open, so I used that one for this one. And then right when I was finishing up today, I found the 60-minute tape sitting behind a box of records. So I was just like,
yeah, it wasn't meant to be.
It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm 90% sure mine was blank beforehand, but I felt pretty good about it because it didn't have anything on it. And I was like, I didn't even want to check it to make sure. So I was like, well, if it's not labeled, I don't know what the hell this is, then I'm taping over it. And it looked like it was from the newer batch of whenever the hell I got tapes last. So I think it's hopefully in decent quality. But it worked.
Do you ever get like a blank tape and it's already had something on it and you can hear it between the two songs?
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Usually it was those old, like kind of the metal, it was the fancier tapes actually. It was like the ones that were all supposed to be like, if you copy CD to it, it'll sound just as whatever the fuck, you know? And, yeah, you would hear the shit in the back. It was crazy. So it was like almost better to have the crappier ones because you could tape over them as much as you want and then, hold up as good as tape ever holds up.
Now, do you remember any of the mixtapes you got over the years compared to the ones that you gave away?
That I got. I never really received too many.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, it's weird. I was always the guy trying to, just share and give them out. even between like Donald and I would trade, but I was usually just copying new stuff for him. It was more of like on par with what CDRs would become, where it'd be like I'd get something and I was just like trying to get it out as soon as possible to him or just other people. It was more straight up albums and stuff I was copying. But then, you know, like the, you know, meeting the girl or whatever, you know, tons of those examples, or just a friend that you meet and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can hook you up with a cool mix, and tons of that. The most memorable ones for me were actually my buddy. It was like late 90s by that point, really, but we started off trading CDs and then of our own music and stuff. And we started sending tapes back and forth because he lived in Tennessee. And it's the guy that I eventually ended up joining the band and lived right next to in Asheville here and was on the show a couple times, Ryan. So we started off by sending tapes back and forth to each other. And like, it'd be usually like a bootleg or something, like a Uncle Tupelo or Lemonheads or something like that we didn't have. And then like for the second half, we'd always kind of throw some new songs of ours on there. And then we just eventually started sending our own songs back and forth. But I still have all those tapes of his, which was cool just because it was like super crappy. Him just playing into a boombox kind of thing, you know, or the little 4-tracks. And, you know, so those are definitely the tapes that I hold most dear to my heart at this point. You know, I've somehow lost all the actual collection ones that I had from my brothers and stuff, aside from the Cure ones, you know. But
yeah.
How about you? Did you have any that made an impression on you, or any?
So I had this friend Jason that made me a mixtape. I guess it really wasn't a mixtape. He just kind of recorded the Misfits Walk Among Us album on it, and gave it to me. So that was definitely influential and definitely a cool thing to have. And I don't really remember too many other ones made for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really. I know my wife and I used to exchange mix CDs. When we first started dating, so we had a couple of those back and forth. I don't think we ever did the tape thing. But yeah, I remember making mixtapes up until probably like 2003 or 4. A lot of it probably has to do with the fact that that's what I had in my car.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of people's scenario where, you know, the tapes just held on. Because, I remember, I guess through the late 90s and stuff, like commuting and stuff, I'd always have tapes in there still. And I'd, you know, copy stuff from the CDs just to the tape, just so I could play it in my car and stuff, you know. So, it's, but yeah, I guess I got more mixes from people on CDs too. I still have a bunch of those that I've held on to over the years of like CD mixes. But yeah, old tapes.
Yeah. I remember getting all my. I had a record player that had a cassette on it, cassette player. So I just used to take all my old like hardcore and punk 7-inches, and just, you know, I want to listen to them in the car. So I would just record them on a tape, and then I'd have a way to listen to it rather than just sitting by the record player.
They really do sound horrible most of the time, but there is something about that. I mean, it's all nostalgia, really. I mean, you can't really even argue that warm tape sound just makes it sound so it's like, you know, especially if it's a well-loved tape, you know. But there is something to it that, you know, I would never, you know, even when I try to backtrack and buy some of the Cure ones and stuff again now, it's like totally hurts to pay more than like, you know, $8 maybe, depending on the day and how much cash I have. It's like definitely nothing over fucking $10 for it, you know. It's like, no way, I can't do it. But I like the premise for this. We weren't just making a Cure mix for each other. And this is where I may have misunderstood you, but you threw out the idea of telling our life story through Cure songs. So I was like, whoa, and it just blew my mind because it was like, oh yeah, so like this is the angle I went with, so it might be different than what you actually did choose. But I basically took the idea of like, what would be like if you made a movie of my life, and the Cure did the soundtrack through their songs, I guess, and what song would represent each era of our, you know, biography basically, or autobiography. And I took that angle, so I was just like writing down, there's those few, not necessarily like the specific song even, but just the mood or other relations, like the feelings that the song gives. Like it could be something, not even a distinct relation to that song, but just something in hindsight, because a lot of them are like before I even got into The Cure. And then I kind of just went from each little highlight or milestone in my life or low light and what song I would pair with that. So
okay.
And then I went.
So we went a little bit different.
With that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't go chronological, and I did not. I did basically. If I'm gonna describe myself and like my existence to somebody, like what it would represent. Okay. So, but I did think about going with like the autobiography, where you starting from like, point A to point B.
Yeah, like childhood.
And, yeah, and I'm just like, oh man, that seems. I don't think I can do that. But yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's why Donald was kind of sour on this one or not. Or he didn't want to get involved in the sappiness of the personal angle that I was selling to him. I was like, come on, man, let's do this episode. Or if it was just he knew he had to do homework and make this. So he was like, fuck that. So if you're wondering why Donald isn't here, he wasn't too down with this idea. So maybe it was this angle. So
I'm going to say it was 70-30, but not which one it was.
Yeah, exactly. And he probably would debate either one too.
Yes.
But okay, well that's rad. I guess we'll take both perspectives in as we walk through it and kind of do, I won't dwell on all the songs and stuff because we've talked about them in Cure context.
Yeah.
But so it is a very kind of personal side of these for both angles, I guess. And a good time to get to know you and I as we start off a new year on the Holy Hour. For our listeners out there, maybe you don't know some of these stories of where we're coming from in relation to The Cure or just our lives in general. So I think it'll be fun. I'll try not to get too heavy. I've had a fairly decent life, so hopefully it won't get too heavy or anything like that. But
I got the heaviness. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I was kind of worried that mine didn't like flow like I would normally obsess over with a mix. It's more of like what needed to be next, So it's a weird mix. So I'll tell you that off the start.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kind of like my life.
I
a little all over the place.
I did try to like when you craft a mixtape, if you've watched or read High Fidelity, like you kind of get that like feeling that like there's an art to it.
Yeah.
And like you want to start it off and like end it on certain sides, and you don't want to cut a song off and like so on and so forth. So there's a lot of timing issues. So when it came to making this, I tried to stay true to that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good lead off track, good closer on each side. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Should
So I think.
Yeah, I guess along those lines, unless it's disclosing too much before we dive in. Did you have any that like cut or like have a huge gap at the end, like as far as endings? Because that is the toughest with making a tape.
No, actually, you know what? So the first side, I think that ended pretty close to the end. If anything, there's like a couple seconds of just dead air. And then the last side, which we'll get into, I finished with a different, a Cure song, but a different take on it. Yeah. And it just kind of goes into the end. So, cool. And it's kind of funny, but we'll get to that point. So, yeah.
I guess with mine, I lucked out. It was definitely no tape making skills involved. Where it like, let's see, side one ended at like 30 seconds before. So I was just like, sweet.
Yeah, I
definitely had a little rearranging here and there, knowing that I was getting close, but at the same time, it was like perfect. And then the second side, I got a minute left, so there's like a minute of silence. I was like, all right, I'll just leave that there. It's a nice little breath of air as it would click or whatever. But when we did the 60-minute tape, I really want to just put like just like having at the end, which didn't end up making the final cut at all, which is really weird. But
wow,
it cuts off. But I like that it felt like the Dinosaur Jr. one because it was an abrupt cut off. You know, so
I thought about doing that. Like it crossed my mind. Like, oh, that'd be funny if I did that.
It was kind of perfect because it just cut right at that point. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, maybe that's more authentic to what all mixtapes were back in the day. Usually, unless you were like trying to really impress a girl or something with it, it was always like, oh well, fuck it, if you like it, I'll put it on the next one for you, you know. You give it to your buddy, you know. Yeah It's tough with The Cure because they don't really have any like, you know, 1 minute kind of like quick jam that you could just fill it in, you know. It's like at best I did have like a reflection at one point in there, you know. I put it in there. I was like, well, at this point in my life I was reflecting a lot. Then I rearranged a bit and didn't need it, but at the same time I was like, yeah, it's like 2 minutes on the dot, this is perfect, fills up just enough gap there. But so, yeah. I had
final sound on the second side of the tape to finish it off, and I just like, this is so stupid, and I just like I turned it off and rewound it and then like recorded again like afterwards, like the last song that I put on there. So but yeah,
the final sound.
Yeah, I'm just like I just heard Donald over my shoulder, just
really
like, too literal.
Yeah Totally. Cool, man. Well, who do you want to go first? Would you like to kick it off, or
sure, if you want me to, that's fine.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start off the first side with "Jumping Someone Else's Train." It's the first song that I realized that The Cure was a punk band, or started off as a punk band. So. It definitely changed my view of the band in a way, where I felt like they had like at the time when I started listening to them, I felt like it gave them more street credibility.
Right.
So you know, there was a little bit of that was going on with me liking that so much, but I think it's the perfect way that I don't know if fall in love with The Cure is the right way, because I was kind of already in love with them to begin with, but like I guess solidified my love for the band when I first started listening to them. So
because a lot of those bridges into what you liked already are essential when you start to really love a band, you know. And it's just like, oh yeah, that's not that big of a stretch from the hardcore punker stuff that you were into, you know. Probably. So it's like,
and the lyrics of the song are pretty, you know, punk rock. You know, I don't really have to say it. You know, it was snotty, and it was you know, arrogant, and just what I loved about all of that, you know. So and it's definitely a big thing within the punk community that you're not, you know, trying to take somebody else's fad. It's, you know, so so I think that's a perfect way that I think I started it off, because this mixtape is perfect in every way.
It's a good
so the second song I went really kind of dark and went into Disintegration. I feel like that kind of needs to be up front in stuff that you know, that I've been through, with just like you know, my wife and we went through a bad portion of our marriage about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and it like that song was really repetitive in my life, just because I associated a lot of the stuff that we were going through with that. So I think there's so much in that song that I pick out a different thing each time, and even now reflecting on it, you know, I look back on moments in our marriage where I'm just like, I really kind of fucked up there, you know. So and you know, so that I think is a big stamp on where I am now as a person. So
it's an intense tune, as we've touched on many times, but it is strange, just even over the holidays. So we were watching something that was like a Cure kind of thing, and that song came up, and my brother was just like, it's funny how we never really, we always liked it as a kid, but it's just one of those ones, even to him, it was like a song that gets better or more just you really get more out of it every time you hear it, and every stage of life it seems to kind of make a little bit more sense, whether that's scary or you know what I mean. It's like as a kid I always knew it was intense and I liked it, but at the same time I didn't even feel like I could really scratch away what the fuck was going on, you know. And it's like when it starts making sense, you know, it's a little more either a sign of you're in trouble or a sign that you're growing up, maybe. So, I don't know.
It's really weird, like loving a song and having that love for it, and then years later relating to it.
Yeah.
And like it's just like, whoa, holy fuck! Like this is real. Like this is real life.
Yeah. And self-fulfilling prophecy or something.
Yeah.
It's like
So and that's gonna come up a lot during this mixtape. Just that those feelings of things that I go through on a daily basis. Right after that, I go further into being depressed and start with Sinking. To me, that's a very personal song of battling with my bipolar disorder. It's very I guess we're gonna say relatable a lot in this episode, but this is like if this nails a hammer on the nail on the head if somebody said, you know, what's it like living with being bipolar or depressed or whatever, you know, you just kind of want to slide it across the table and be like, you know, give us a listen for, you know, and really dive into it for a couple minutes. And, you know, that's kind of what it feels like. So, yeah. And I think that's, it's something that I wasn't very open about for 20 years or so. And it just wasn't recently until probably about 3 or 4, 5 years ago where I actually started talking about it. But yeah, that's, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way because I know it's like a popular song. So
I mean it makes sense that it's not. It's weird because it is like such a heavy song, but it's got this kind of like more, you know, relatable or softer edge or something. It's not as like overly epic as like Disintegration sounding. You know, there's something about Sinking that really does just kind of punch you in the gut, and you know, and you're just like, but you know, in the same way, it's like you're standing around with other people who got punched in the gut, maybe, or something is how I'd compare it. You know, it's not the actual punch; it's just the feeling of it or something. You know, and it's like,
I would say it's kind of a mixture of like you get that like kind of like Faith 17 Seconds kind of feeling mixed in with the Disintegration. It's kind of like that middle ground, and you know, time wise as well as, you know, just music wise. So I think it's a perfect mixture and just kind of makes that song for me so much more special. Because I know we've talked about Robert with his ability to mix poppy music with sad lyrics, and this is one where it's kind of a sad tune, and incredibly depressing lyrics, but also like it still has that little groove there.
Yeah, you know, the bass line is like you feel it, but at the same time it is good, just has a groove, like you said. So, so next thing, the next song, number 4, I have 6 different ways. Okay.
So I put this on here because I think it's important to notice the lyrics are definitely describing a complex person, but also it was in the It Chapter 1 movie, so it's kind of like a tie-in to my obsession with Stephen King,
right on.
And of what kind of person I am and what I like to read. So I felt that was kind of like a 2-for-1 there. But
that's cool.
I think it's the only Cure song like linked to anything Stephen King.
Yeah, like the 6 degrees of Stephen King with the Cure kind of thing.
So I'll have to look. I know we're talking about possibly doing another movie TV episode, so I'd like to dive into that and see if I can find anything. So
sure.
So
cool deal.
Number 5, Too Late.
Yeah.
Kind of goes out to all the girls I had crushes on, including my wife. So yeah, it just I remember meeting my wife at a concert, at a show, and like we talked for like 2 seconds, and it was just kind of like, wow, she was really cool. You know, I kind of want to talk to her again, and then like you feel like you missed that opportunity, and you know, you just kind of like, oh fuck, you know, I messed this up, you know. So and I didn't, you know, grab the bull by the horns or whatever you want to say, and you know, I didn't go after, you know, what I wanted, and it eventually worked out for my wife and I, but you know.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah.
But yeah, there's so much of that when you're young and out there, and you know, those moments of like, maybe because of Hollywood or whatever, you feel like, oh crap, did I, you know, it's just like, you missed that moment, and like seizing the moment. But yeah, that song captures that perfectly, you know, if I could just catch your eye, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, and it's just like you're saying, Hollywood, it's just like, it's not like that. No, yeah.
You know, you're going to get a lot of chances if you like, you know, keep putting yourself out there, you know, it's, you know, or actually, you know, if you know the person, go say hi.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, the next one, going along with another B-side, The Exploding Boy.
Right on.
This is another one of those, the lyrics don't match the music type of songs.
Yeah, totally.
So I put this as how I don't have time for people's bullshit. Kind of like I don't really like. I'm that type of person. Like I don't like, if somebody starts, you know, you start bullshitting with me, I don't I have no time for you. Like I know, like I've been really big into, and I know the term's overused, of getting rid of toxic people. But yeah, it's definitely something I've grown more into doing as I've gotten older. So yeah,
I wonder, it seems like definitely nowadays in current climate and everything, where it seems like that's like a necessary means of survival. But you kind of just wonder any time frame of people, and as you get older, is that something, how common that is, or you know? It just does seem to be coming up a lot, and I totally agree with it. And
yeah,
it does.
You don't have to put up with people's bullshit, even if they're your family members. Like, you don't need to.
Right.
Like there's no rules.
It's you start like sizing up, like, what the fuck is the value of this person every time I talk to you know, like, you know, not even a selfish way, but you know, you have some of those like, you know, fourth tier friends of friends, you know, you're just like, what is this person really even adding? I know I'm not adding anything to their life, and they're not adding anything to my life. Why do we pretend to even like try to include each other in things? And it's better for everyone. It's a mutual breakup, hopefully.
You don't, like, I don't know, and this is just a PSA to everybody out there. If somebody's not making you happy, you don't need to you don't need to live in that. So you either tell them or you just move on, you know. You know, I don't know what else to. I don't know. It's such a weird dynamic that we've found ourselves in with social media and everything. So
I tend to be overly forgiving, if anything, but I wonder what the comeback percentage is for somebody if you kind of write somebody off and you just say whatever. You know, does anybody ever really win you back ever, though? I wonder, like they do cross paths again and they're like, yeah, you know, it's like, all right, that person's all right now. Maybe they were going through a hard spell, but I can't really think of any examples where that's happened. But I wonder. If it's even possible. People are so set in their ways. Who knows?
Yeah, I know. It's a weird world we're living in now, and you know, when we were kids, we never had any type of knowledge of people outside our own community. You know, and like now it's everywhere. And where before you were stuck in that community, you're not stuck anywhere now. Like you and I. We met over a podcast,
right?
And you know, and we became friends. And Donald, we became friends. And like, I can pick who I want in my life, and I don't need to be I don't need to be latched on to something I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Life's too short
it's a
for
big
that
thing.
shit.
Yeah.
Does that relate to the "Not Today" line, or?
Yeah, like I think the whole thing is like, you're just talking bullshit to me. I don't want anything to do with you, and I know if I turn away from you talking to me, and like trying to be in my life, we're never gonna have a relationship, and I'm cool with that, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and I think it's very
Fitting,
like right in your face, kind of.
Yeah.
Very blunt, so yeah, so
cool.
But yeah. So next song, Just Like Heaven.
Right.
Kind of a staple. I'm eager to find out how that didn't make the cut on your list. So but this is my my wedding song with my wife. It was on the first CD I made her. We had my friend Jonah Matranga. He's in One Line Drawing and the New End Originals. He recorded his own cover of that song, and also in Your Eyes, Peter Gabriel. And we went to our hotel room when we went from our ceremony that we had at my mom's house. It was bullshit. She just wanted it, so we got married in a courthouse in Joliet, Illinois. Nice. So we made our honeymoon for New York City and the Jersey Shore. So we went to New York City. I pulled out the tape deck I made this mixtape on, and put the CD on that Jonah made for us, and we danced in the hotel room together. So beautiful. Yeah. So
that's an awesome rendition too. You shared it with me. That's very
cool.
Oh
yeah, I forgot I did.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So that is why that's on there. Other than that, I think it's a beautiful song where, again, the lyrics don't match the sadness of what they're trying to convey. But I think it's beautiful.
Dead?
Yeah.
At the end?
Yeah. Are you going to kill me? Don't worry about that part.
What's going on here? Don't worry, just go.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a must-have, but apparently you don't, which I'm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Just sitting here, how did I make it? After all we talked about.
It's too precious for my life story. That's why I think too highly of it to include it with my life.
It's got its own tape.
Yeah, totally. I wouldn't associate it with me.
Yeah, it's got all the remixes and live performances you could dig up. Over and over again. So then I go on to Letter to Elise.
Right on.
So I've always took this song as for me personally as a reverse, where I'm technically Elise. I guess would be the way. I was engaged for about 2 years and dated somebody for about 4 years. Okay. And that song, everything he's singing about, I saw it happening, in front of me. And, it's just, it's so, I don't know. It's just so heartbreaking when you're on that end.
Yeah.
So when I hear the song, I don't take it as me falling out of love with someone. Mm-hmm. It's the other way around of them falling out of love with me. Which I get, because
it's so sad, but I totally can relate.
Yeah, it was a very intense relationship of somebody who myself is bipolar and the other person had a lot of mental illness issues. There were times that didn't go very well. So it probably wasn't a good thing to get involved with it, But you live, you learn, as Alanis Morissette says. So
they say.
Yeah. I go into Secrets.
Okay.
From 17 Seconds. One of my favorite Cure songs. It's one of those hidden gems that like kind of pop up when if you ask me like my top 10 songs, it would probably be in there.
Nice.
Yeah, that just reminds me of again like the whole crush thing, but like more in like an intimate way of like being face to face with somebody and then like losing that chance of any type of intimacy after that point in time. So I think this happens to everybody, but it seemed to happen to me a lot. I don't know. But yeah. So I could just be reading more into my life than it's actually there. But that's what this is all about, right?
To do. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. If you can't read it that much into your own life, then who's gonna, right?
Yeah.
I'm there with you.
So right after Secrets, I turn it up and go into Want.
Okay.
And I take this song as definitely my issues with self-destruction. And it's an issue with my bipolar disorder that I've been trying to control, and it's not easy. And there's times I see it every day when I don't mean to do it. So, yeah, it's an issue. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's important to be open about it. So,
totally.
Yeah. So yeah.
How are you with like, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, go ahead.
In relation to Want and stuff, as far as like addictive stuff, since you tend to have that aspect too of any kind of addictive personality?
In certain ways, but not in I need alcohol or drugs or anything.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, I stole so much stuff.
Full on clip
for so long.
Right.
And like where you're like, yeah, I know if I get caught I'm going to get fired or I'm going to jail kind of thing.
Right.
But I just did it, and like just stuff like that where you're just like today, I had to go out and find my AirPods, which is again another self-destructive thing because I'll lose them all the time, and which only causes my wife being upset at me, and it's like where I could just keep an eye on them or know where they're at, and it's just like, and I left the back gate unlocked, which is where our dogs would run out into the world, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm such an idiot. Like, and then calling myself an idiot is self-destructive.
Right.
So
it just snowballs.
It's just a vicious circle. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I've never been. I know just through our conversations, like my father was an alcoholic, so there is that an addictive to substance kind of disease or whatever you want to call it within our family. I just never liked alcohol. I just never liked the taste of it,
that's great.
So,
you're able to steer away from that and chain smoking or anything like that,
like none of that stuff. Like I tried it and it just never appealed to me. Like now I'm on like medical marijuana, which I do, but I don't like it. I don't like the taste. I don't like how it smells. I don't like any of that stuff. But it helps me. Yeah. And so I take it, but I'm more addicted to other things, I guess.
Right.
So it's it's a lot of this has been a journey, like with therapy and everything.
Right.
Of actually part of the problem is not realizing that you're doing the things, and now I'm becoming more aware of everything that's going on. So yeah, and like I think that this making this mixtape was kind of like an exercise in that. So yeah, I do enjoy doing this. So, yeah. So the last song on this side is going to be Mint Car.
Right.
Because it's a song that my kids love.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to go on this until I sat down and was making the tape and my son was playing video games in the room. And I was just going through Wild Mood Swings and then going after each song. And I hit on Mint Car and I left it on for a couple seconds, and my oldest son was singing along. And he was like, not even knowing he was doing it. He was watching the TV and he was dancing and singing to it. And I was just like, It just made me happy in the moment. So, but yeah, that's how that ended up on there. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I like any kind of mint car love. It's few and far between. So I feel like it.
I still think it's a better song than Friday I'm in Love, but that's just my personal opinion. So, so yeah, that's side 1. Now, do you want me to keep going on side 2, or do you want to take over and do side 1 of yours?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Maybe, we could leave it as like a cliffhanger there and see where it goes. You want to do it that way?
That's fine.
Spice it up. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, like we said, different approach for mine. I'm kind of going theme song for events in my life. So I'll try to be brief with my descriptions of songs and traumatic or pleasurable events here. So it starts 1977 March. I'm not going back to the actual birthday. So I lead it off with Boys Don't Cry. Just kind of representing my childhood, as it will. Plus, it's just a good opening track. Kind of a lot what we said in the Boys Don't Cry episode, as far as being a kid, being like the youngest, and having 2 older brothers, and just trying to be the tough boy, even though them and my dad, nobody ever put it on me. There was never any real society, you gotta be a man kind of thing as a kid, but just that day and age and being the third boy, it was just kind of always there. You couldn't show weakness, or they'd pick on you more or something, so there's just a little of that. Plus it's just a fun song, but it's super dark around the edges, like a lot of my childhood. My childhood was great. I had like a wonderful time. My parents were like awesome about keeping all the dark stuff, and keeping me oblivious to it, and so I'll forever love them for that. Like, it's only as you get older and you're like, that was kind of fucked up, and wow, all that was going on, and I was just like, cool, G.I. Joes, and stuff like that. So something about Boys Don't Cry is like that, like we said, where it's such a fun song if you want it to be, but when you really listen to the lyrics and shit, like, wow, this is a lot more going on there. So
now, Father to Father, how are you with that with Henson when it comes to protecting, not the whole Boys Don't Cry kind of, because I think we covered that the last episode, but like the whole sheltering, are you about that or no?
We're a lot more open with him than my parents were, as far as like shit going on outside of the family, or if there's weird stuff going on in the family, we'll say, that's just how they are, your uncles or aunts are a little bit of weirdos, but that's why we love them, kind of thing, and stuff like that, and so I think we do kind of do the opposite of that, to a good degree, and
it's almost impossible now, though.
That's why I kind of feel like it's, to a certain degree, doesn't really catch it, and you want them just to be happy, and you don't really need to go into the official death count every day of the COVID-19 or anything, but at the same time he knows it's fucked up, and he knows that it's going on. Obviously you'd have to be totally oblivious, but so I mean, there is a little bit of sheltering, but at the same time I think between my wife and I, we are way more open with it all to him, and it's just the 3 of us. I think when you get like a whole family too, like, I don't know if it's any different having 2 boys on your side there, but it's, I feel like he's just kind of right there with us as our,
But
cool. It's tricky. But moving on from then, I kind of picked The Walk, which was kind of a bonus track. This is one that got added in as the tape got longer. But the Walk, since this is all technically before I even got into The Cure, though, this would be around 83. It kind of represented me just being fascinated by music around that time. I got a Walkman and started just like listening to like tons of stuff on the radio. It wasn't even a tape Walkman. It was like a race. I'd hear like Thriller, and I just had like these memories of these specific songs always having this kind of darker side too, kind of like The Walk, where it's like a pop song, but it definitely has like some dark around the edges still, like Here Comes the Rain, again, the Eurythmics one, and 99 Red Balloons, so it's all like pumped full of like Cold War anxiety and shit too. Safety Dance totally was like, and I looked all those up before this because those were the ones that popped in my head, and they all were like totally 82, 83, so if I could check that out, I was like, oh wow, it was just really weird era. You know, I remember just being a kid and getting into pop music, but it was like very Cold War feeling about it. Something, you know, it just seemed like it could all go horribly wrong really quick, you know. So
it probably should have.
Yeah, so who knows? So somehow the walk kind of captures that for me. And then we jump in a few years later, around 87. I'm starting to get into middle school age. And this one's a more direct reference of Cureness with The Hanging Garden I have on there. Because it was the first song that I remember hearing that my friend Jeff Butler was getting into The Cure, and he played, you know, I can't remember what, but it was Hanging Garden. And I was just like making fun of the lyrics. I was like, fall into the walls. What is this bullshit you're listening to? Kind of thing. I was like,
The Animals Cry. What is that about?
Yeah, totally. I was like, Men at Work. Now that's a fucking band. You should listen to that. After like a few more listens to that and watching it Orange with him just by default, you know, I got hooked pretty quick after that. But I remember Hanging Garden, strangely enough, being like the first one I have a memory of. So that's on there, and so then we're starting to get into, like, I guess it was really fast after that. I started just obsessing about The Cure, and so the next one on the mix is A Night Like This, because I do have a distinct memory of listening to this particular song while on a Walkman that actually had a tape at this point in the back seat of my oldest brother's car, and for whatever the fuck reason we were driving around and it was nighttime and I was still young enough. This was like going into 6th grade maybe, and like where it was still kind of a big deal to be out at night driving around with your brother, you know, like it doesn't happen that much, you know. And I just remember listening to this and all kinds of like middle school hormones and melodrama, whatever the anxiety was killing me, and this song just like has like a really cool connection to that without it even really being in the lyrics, you know. But there's something about like coming to find you if it takes me all night kind of thing. It's like it almost feels like the song has butterflies in its stomach too, you know? And it's just something I've always loved about that song, and it kind of matches that whole middle school lifestyle completely, you know.
Yeah, I remember that. 6th grade was like a weird year.
Yeah,
it was probably the worst year of like school for me, but like I just remember that was like the first time I started like really liking girls. Yeah, and like really like I remember I used to like there were 3 different girls in 6th grade that I had crushes on.
Right.
And yeah. So
yeah. It's just like everything is just like overwhelming, and like I said, I feel like I've had butterflies in my stomach from anxiety or something, you know, like not the good kind of butterflies even, you know, just like anxiety, like from then to about now. I think I still have them. but that's when it started, I think. But so yeah, somehow A Night Like This captures that, and you know, that's around when I met Donald even, and we started just totally getting into The Cure. So so then we jump ahead quite a bit to high school age and going into like late sophomore year into junior year of high school. Pictures of You I put here, and I could have probably put Just Like Heaven here too, because it's kind of in reference to my first girlfriend in high school. That we were totally high school relationship, you know. We were totally going to get married, of course, but nobody does that, you know.
So, dry humping and all that other stuff.
Yeah, so I was obsessed and all that. And Pictures of You kind of sums it up, that all of that, knowing, you know, even listening. I mean, Pictures of You I've associated with every relationship I've had, whether it be girlfriend or parents passing away or birth of my child or whatever. For some reason, that song's just
it's a very versatile song.
Yeah, so, but I figured, you know, first real girlfriend, let's give it to her, why not, you know. Because it's kind of doomed from the start, you know, this isn't gonna work out, even though it's like technically one of the most like romantic Cure songs in the world, you know. You hear it, it's just like the imagery's so like beautiful and so like reminiscent of, you know, sweet innocence and all this, but it's like, you know, it's fucking doomed, man, you know. It's, you know, it's not gonna work out. You don't
want to admit it, even though everybody's telling you that, you know, this isn't gonna last forever.
Totally.
Yes, we do. We love each other.
Yeah. Why would it work? So
you don't understand our love.
So the breakup comes in a couple more songs, but at the time we'll pause there. It's it's going great, and Pictures of You totally matches. So despite all that, you know. So then this enters a weird part of the dark side of my life here, I guess. It was about let's see, 84 or 94, the summer before my senior year. I was 17, and romantic troubles took a sideline for sure because I got in a bad car accident, and it was like a total fucking mess. It was a head-on collision with a 40-ton gravel truck. Oof. And yeah, so it was pretty much worst case scenario. If you're gonna crash, it was like head-on, broke everything that I didn't need to live. Basically, my legs, my arms, everything, but didn't touch my head or my spine or anything. I lost my spleen. 3/4 blood was gone. I got stuck in the car. They had to like pry me out forever. It was taking forever. They had to medevac me, so I was like on the fucking helicopter and passed out somewhere on there. So that was like a big deal that everyone kept saying, this is gonna really mess you up, and I'm like, whatever. So it's still something that just comes up constantly. I'm like, ugh. I'm sure it'll kill me even, like some kind of effect from all that bullshit as a kid will still be what kills me in the end, probably. But I feel like I got a huge perspective on life that I'm fortunate. I feel like it changed everything from that moment on. So I put the song Figurehead on there, which has a lot of different lyrical associations, but there's so many harsh, aggressive things that I associate. Because that was the toughest part of finding this, was like trying to find which song would match that. And there's just so many of like the, you know, I'll never be clean again, of course, and whatever. It's just sharp, angry words, and it's because it was just frustrating more. It was just like, what the hell, I was left with this like feeling of like, was I supposed to die? Like everyone just told me, it was like, nobody would have survived that. How the fuck did a 40-ton gravel truck? I was like, I know, I heard, whatever, and luckily I was dumb enough to just be like, well, I'm here, so I'm happy. That's great. But it definitely changed everything. Yeah. Just like at that age when you're supposed to think you're immortal, I was like, wow, we could all die in any second. Like realizing how fragile life is, and like, but like I said, I appreciated it too, because it was like, now I never take a moment for granted with anybody. Like I've been that way. I'm like a super long goodbye person, and I'll stand there forever and say goodbye forever.
I know, I had to kick you out of my house.
I know, right? Just like, just go. But so yeah, that was a big deal, and I figured somehow Figurehead captures that without Is that where you got the inspiration to write Final Destination? Yeah, I think so. Still waiting for credit on that one, but yeah. So that then the saddest part of all that wasn't even the goddamn car wreck. It took like half a year to like learn how to walk again and shit, and get back. But then less than a fucking year, like after that, my mom passed away. So it was like right after that, I was like, way worse blow. She had been sick forever, like 9 years. But we just never thought it would get her. She was so tough that, she just always fought it off and always recovered. It was like a rare blood disease, and yeah, so it just fucking sucked. My girlfriend broke up with me in between these two songs, by the way, so that didn't work out. So, oh my god. Car wreck, first breakup, mom dies, all within a year, when I'm like 17, 18. So that sucks. So I put Treasure as the next song because when
I already wrote it down.
Yeah.
I'm writing down all the songs as you go, and you wrote you were talking, and I just wrote Treasure down.
It was perfect because Wild Mood Swings came out. I'd graduated. I was just going off to junior college while my brothers were, getting their stuff together, my dad and everybody. So I was just it was a very quiet, weird next school semester, and Wild Mood Swings kind of saved my life in a sense in that regards, because that came out in like May of the next year, and this song being on it, was kind of, I knew it was goofy, but I felt like it was her way of telling me it was going to be all right from the beyond, and like, how, I shouldn't let it just destroy me, and think fondly back, don't cry, So one of those deals, but, it was tough.
We both talked about our affection for that song.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song that never really gets appreciated. I'd love if I were to bring that back up too, but kind of keeps it more personal almost, that it isn't ever on anything, It's like, it was just for me, wasn't it?
Now, I don't mean to dig up old pains or anything.
Yeah, nah.
That breakup.
Yeah. No kidding. It was
like, you tell me that, I was just like, damn.
Yeah, I kind of brushed over
how did that
it,
conversation come around? Like, it's just like, yeah, I know you're pretty much in a body cast, and your mom's sick, and you're learning how to walk again, and you know.
Because, yeah, it was like car accident. I finally got back into school senior year by the end of the semester. Right before graduation, she's like cheating on me with her ex.
Oh, God.
I mean, it was so ridiculous. Now I don't even hold it against her. Of course, we were supposed to break up, but even fucking weirder, she ended up marrying the dude that she cheated on me with. Like, she actually married
that.
Yeah, so I feel like at least maybe it was meant to be then, I guess. Fuck, what do I know? You know? But
at least you can hold on to that. Yeah.
I'm like standing there with crutches, and she's breaking up with me, and my mom's like about to die, you know? So it's like, okay, great.
Yeah. It was like that High Fidelity moment where the one girl ends up breaking up with John Cusack and then marrying the
exactly
the other guy.
Totally.
Like, I wasn't the issue. This was fate.
Yes, exactly. That's how I was like, what the fuck, you know? I mean, it's like now I'd love to just even hang out with her and catch up like old days, but she's still fucking married to that dude, so I'm like, well, that's awkward, you know? It's like I can't hang out with them, you know? So I had a girlfriend break up with me on my 22nd birthday. Right. And we had a snowstorm, and my best friend was supposed to come down to Philadelphia, and we were supposed to go hang out and everything, and he couldn't make it because of the snowstorm, and she just broke up with me in the middle of it because I was upset that he couldn't come down. So I was just like, well, fuck. And then she called me back like a half hour later and proceeded to continue our relationship. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like right after you blow the candles out, you know?
Yeah.
Jesus, you
sitting in the bathroom crying.
Waited a day even? What the fuck?
Read the room a little bit, please.
Yeah. Totally. You got a little party hat on and stuff. What the fuck? So I tried to bring it up for the sake of the mix and my life after that song, and Figurehead followed by Treasure. Not good. So I have Exploding Boy here.
Nice.
And I think I read it, I don't know where the hell it was. It's more of a Cure association. I think from the Join the Dots liner notes, maybe.
Okay.
Like you said, the lyrics don't really match the tone of the song. It's like a very kind of joyous song, you know, and I think somewhere in there he said it was the excitement of the new band for the Head on the Door era and having, you know, just loving playing with this band, and the song kind of just stemmed out of that. And that's kind of what I always feel in the song. It's just this joy of music in a sense. And so I put that song there because it was this era around then after I was starting college at that point and just like really getting the ball rolling on writing songs and playing shows and just really realizing that's like, shit, I could get up and play songs, and, you know, this is such an outlet. And that song in particular, you know, just always kind of fits that mood. If I was doing a montage in my head, you know, we didn't sound anything.
The soundtrack.
Yeah, so it would definitely be Exploding Boy as Donald's rocking out on the drums in the basement, and I'm just, we're not sounding anything like The Cure, but at the same time, our hearts are in it. So yeah, 2 more songs on side A. We go into another relationship here. A couple of years later at this point, the next long-term relationship I had was this girl, and in hindsight, it's kind of a lot of jealousy issues, a lot of going through the motions. It's like I was going through school, I was really getting into music and the idea of being in a band, so I was really divided into 3 parts anyway, you know, so it was like I felt like it was a big deal. We had a lot of fun, but there was a lot of just like going through the motions in the relationship. I really hated her parents. She was cool. We had fun together, but like God, they're horrible people. And we would just spend so much time over there on the weekends and
been there. Yep.
Yeah. So I put In Your House here and the whole concept of I'm drowning, basically pretending to swim, acting like this is something that we're gonna pull off, but we thought we were serious, the hours would go by, and so that went on for like 3 years though, and then so it was like 3-year relationship. Then that kind of just ended, but it ended in a weird way as we go into Siamese twins, which might be a little overly harsh for the breakup, but sad about it, but it wasn't my usual I gotta win her back kind of breakup. I was just kind of like, fuck, what the hell, and I was more angry that I wouldn't say wasted, but like 3 really important years, as I was in college. I basically am a very committed man, or boy at that time, where I met so many cool girls and just people I wanted to hang out with, but I never wanted to like jeopardize our relationship or make it even awkward or even put myself in the position of doing, so I just ignored everything basically.
I know all the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. So, it's just like, and then when it's over, I'm like, well, that's fucking great. All those like cool people I totally could have hung out with. So I was very just kind of bitter. So Siamese Twins somehow fit that a lot when I was listening back over it. I was like, I think it's just the is it always like this kind of idea. And when you start to get the more aggressive, like we never talk, we never smile, I scream, you're nothing. Like I said, might be a little overly harsh, but but yeah, it was pretty disappointing relationship at that point as the tape runs out. Siamese twins, and she was a twin. She wasn't a Siamese twin, but she did have a twin, so I'll keep her name. Wow. But so it kind of all fits. So.
Did they pull any type of switcheroos on you or anything ever?
No, not identical. They look similar, but thank God, too. Sister was definitely the crazier of the two. So.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend that hated me. And she didn't hate me. Her parents hated me. And I just remember I destroyed that relationship. As far as going back to like self-destructive stuff, I fucked that up. Yeah. And I was batting way out of my league with that one. And I was just like, what am I doing here? Kind of thing. And I was just like, let's just burn it to the ground kind of thing. When I could have easily just walked away and I didn't. So
right. Yeah. So that's kind of how this one was too. Yeah. I think it just looking back, I was like, I can't imagine why she wanted to get out too. I was like totally going through the motions with everything. I was just like, man, whatever, but I'm just gonna be in a band, I was totally like fucking 80s mode, dude, I was just like, whatever. My band's gonna be it's my only vision.
I'm trying to remember what band we were talking about where the I think you talked about it too, like where the dude went out and bought new equipment, and then the girlfriend like made him choose between him and the band, and he chose the girl. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna go back to the band." I want to say it was Blink-182, but it might not. I think it was actually.
I think it was.
Broke up, and he's like, "Oh, fuck that!" and then went back to the band. So,
it was definitely that kind of scenario. I made that girl hang out in my basement with me and Donald and watch countless hours of like Mr. Show and shit. So, can't imagine she didn't kick me to the curb way earlier, but
she hates that show. She hates that show with a She hates that show with a passion.
Oh yeah, no,
I just know her now. Like she's
totally. There's no way that's coming up anymore. So
anytime they see David Cross, they see you.
Yeah,
and you've ruined like Breaking Bad and
exactly.
And Better Call Saul for her. Good job, Gavin.
More realistic for her. She probably like loves Better Call Saul and like never even made the connection. It's the same person,
Probably
like,
not.
Oh, that's a guy. Just like Jesus Christ, really? Did you learn nothing from me? Well.
Oh my god.
But so let's bounce back to your life story there, side B of Chaz.
So side B, I started it off with Cut Here.
Okay.
Yeah, I was choosing between this and Homesick, I think.
Okay.
And I chose this instead. Yeah, it's I mean the song's about that dude from The Associates committing suicide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's Robert's regret of not having or not taking the time and being a friend and spending time with him. So, I lost my father in 2000. Well, now is it 16 now? So, and it's something that I've been dealing with, and I've been talking about actually recently with my therapist of just having that guilt. And I know I'm not saying that you experience it, but I mean there's always that. I wish I could have spent 5 minutes doing this instead of with them instead of doing this, and
sure.
yeah. So, but like with my father, he wasn't in my life growing up, and it took a lot for me to, after he decided to stop drinking, to be back in my life, and it took a lot for me to get to that point, and I felt like when I got to that point is when he passed away. So, there's a lot of regret of what I could have done in those 3 to 4 years where I had him around, and where he was willing to be in my life. So, it's especially this time of the year. And around this time of year is where I would see him the most, and not having that now is rough. Especially when I don't have regret over the 30 years before that I didn't have with him, because that wasn't my decision. I have the regret that comes now. So it's a little bit different. So, listen to that song. it hits pretty hard. So that's where I took the track one into the saddest possible place I could go. And again, it's another song where the lyrics don't match up with
it's weird
with the music.
Because I always initially, like most Cure songs, it just seems like a sad relationship song at first. The way he definitely even phrases, there's a few lines where it's just blatantly covering that up more to make it sound like a relationship, even. But and then hearing that and reading that and like realizing that's what the song was about, it just makes it so much better too. Knowing it's just like, oh wow. It is weird, the whole Busy Mr. Busy talk. Like that part's like, what is this? Like, isn't this weird little baby talk kind of part? Or just like what? But it totally just flows with it, And knowing him, that's probably some inside joke he had with the guy or something. So it's like, oh man, that song definitely hits all of it,
So so I go with a little bit more poppier with the next song, and I go with The Only One.
Okay.
This one is because of my wife, because I sent it to her one time as I think I sent it to her in a message or I don't want to say MySpace because I don't think it was that long ago, but Facebook or whatever. And she's just like, Robert is such a dirty man. And it's like, I'm like, all right, and every time I hear that song, that's all I think in my head. It's like, Robert's such a dirty man.
Dirty old Robert getting down. Got his bathrobe on. Shuffling around.
Do that thing with my hips or whatever you're doing. Whoa.
It goes there for sure.
Just don't break one. So then I go with a very popular song with In Between Days. Reminds me of every stupid fight I've had. And relationship wise and just in with friendships and relationships in general, of just of like, fuck, I was so stupid. You know, like there was no reason for that whatsoever. Like, or I could have handled that better. So yeah, that's
go on, come back.
Yeah,
come back. Like he's done that a few times and it works great. It's like
Boys Don't Cry was the first one. You know, it's a recurring
off, or it's like the opposite for the second verse. You know, like you change your mind in the middle of the song. You know, it's great.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I'm sure you go through it with your marriage. It's just like, why the fuck did we fight about this?
Yeah.
When we could have spent the last 3 days being, having a good time together.
Right.
Like, or, and just like, or why didn't I hang out with that friend because I was upset with X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're going to be a friend with me, you're probably going to get in stupid arguments. So, especially if we see each other on a normal basis.
Right.
So, next one, A Strange Day. This one is another one where I definitely have a connection to my bipolar disorder, but also it kind of ties in with the Stephen King thing and like this existential dread that I get of like the world's just burning and I'm just gonna kind of sit and watch it. And like none of this has meaning. And like I know like him describing that song, he said it's like kind of like a end of the world kind of landscape that you're dealing with when it comes to that song. And like I relate to that in a lot of the stuff I read and a lot of the stuff I think about. I think of The Road. The movie or the book The Road, I'm sorry, but it was made into a movie, but the book is outstanding. And I kind of picture that song when I think about that book. And then even The Stand, the movie, why I keep saying the movie, the book The Stand, the Stephen King book that's being made into a miniseries right now that you should, not miniseries, but 10 show episodes or whatever it is. Yeah, just the like end of the world feel is something that's always appealed to me. And now that I'm living in it, it's kind of boring, but kind of is.
That song definitely captures that feeling though. It's like this ominous just all around you, like you said, it just feels like you're opening the door and it's like, whoa, what's going on out here?
Yeah, and even when Damnation AD did that whole cover album, that was my favorite song on that.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like it brought that feel to it also.
Yeah.
So yeah. Going a little bit more, I guess, depressing was Edge of the Deep Green Sea, which is another marriage song. Longest relationship in my life is my wife. So, a lot of the stuff I associate with my life is going to be associated with my marriage. And this was one that was like, it hit me hard when we were having a really bad argument. And she went into Target, and I put this song on, and I just sat in the car and listened to it like 3 times. And like, I was a mental wreck for the rest of the day, but like, I was just like, yeah, this is kind of, I feel like I'm in this song right now. Yeah.
Robert was there for you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I know exactly what you're going through.
I wonder if they got in a fight about like some bullshit thing, and like he just kind of like went over the edge with it, and like I completely get it because I do that way too often. So if I left the gate on we got in an argument because I left the garage door, back door, didn't shut it the right way, I guess.
You're always leaving shit open, man.
I am, and like I can't help it, I just forget so often, but like it's it's just like I can imagine like a fight like that, like a stupid argument like that boiling down into Edge of the Deep Green Sea. So I get I always say like
you don't have to beat up on me because whatever, I'm gonna beat up on myself way worse than anything. You know?
Yep.
No matter how trivial, I'm gonna make myself feel so much worse about it than any punishment you're gonna or guilt trip you're gonna give me. I'm like, don't worry, I already have myself feeling horrible. You don't even need to.
Yeah. My therapist and I talk about that every week.
Yeah.
It's just a common, just like I do it while we're talking, where I'm self-deprecating.
Yeah.
And like where I just like beat myself up all the time, and so it's
just recently with my crutches, I've been knocking everything over, and like right before holiday stuff, I just was trying to like do something productive and make this marinade, and I knocked over this thing, and it was like, Rah! I just started like fucking Frankenstein or something, where like I couldn't use my arms. I was just like, Jesus. She's like, it's okay, I'll clean it up, but it was just like I couldn't bounce back from it. I was just like so mad the whole rest of the night, and I was just like couldn't let it go. I was just but
so. Those little things, man.
Yeah. Still haven't forgiven myself.
Yeah, I think I've called myself an idiot like at least 5 times in this podcast, so it's all good. So right after that, I go into a song that you already mentioned, The Walk.
Yeah.
Not a song I particularly love.
Yeah.
It's not a song that I associate with like anything really emotional or deep. Or my wife and I went to go see The Cure in 2008 in Philadelphia, and there was a guy to the left of us, but like a couple rows, so we could see his whole side. And as soon as that song started, he started doing the craziest dancing I've ever seen in my life, where he was just like shooting guns like everywhere. And like he was just going insane, and we just
like
stood
finger
there the whole
guns.
time.
I take it.
Finger guns everywhere, just like, and just like spinning around, and like he was like, it was so funny, and it just like made that whole experience like 100 times better than it already was. Just because anytime that song comes up, we start dancing like that.
Yeah.
So it's like
just
one of
that
those
one
inside
song
jokes.
he danced like that for.
Just that one song he was going balls to the wall for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was so funny, and like if that guy's listening, thank you for making that night so much more enjoyable.
Contact us. I'd love to have you on the show.
Yeah.
We should tell like, why finger guns?
Yeah, and it just it just reminded me like how fun it is going to see that band.
Yeah.
Despite all the sadness and everything that you can associate with them, like it's so much fun.
It's nuts.
You know you're gonna get 3 hours of like next to perfect performance.
Yeah.
So it's it's
just
highlights of my life. So
yeah. Totally.
So going into the home stretch, I have Lullaby. Mostly because of my issues with sleeping. Again with I keep going back to my bipolar disorder, but that's part of what I am.
Big deal.
I have a very hard time going to sleep at night. And I know some people talk about sleep paralysis and stuff like that. You know, it's something that I feel when I'm about to sleep, and the medical marijuana helps a ton. Like, it's the best stuff that I've ever taken to help me get to sleep. So you feel like you have a constant, like somebody's watching you kind of feeling. And it's just like this dread that comes over before you try to go to sleep. So your partner's asleep, knocked out next to you, and you're just kind of sitting there like knowing that you're not gonna be able to sleep for like the next couple hours. So
my wife goes through that a lot. She has all kinds of sleeping issues. Like I always like fall asleep. Like it's because I'm drunk all the time. Not tonight, but it's terrible. Then she just gets mad, and I'm like snoring and shit. She gets all resenting me and hitting me and shit, pushing me over. And I'm just like, why? I'm just trying to sleep. But yeah, I feel so bad for her, and she'll just get her mind going, and it just never stops.
Yeah,
you know, it's horrible.
I I don't resent my wife for that, and I don't kick her or like do anything like that. I just kind of let her be. Yeah. So, but it's just something I've dealt with since I was a kid. So it's like all this stuff like is completely normal to me, and it's like weird talking to people about it sometimes just because they're like, that's not normal. I was like, well, for me it is, because I've been 30 years of doing it this way. So
you just lay there all night.
Just, like, what do you do? Like, well, since they invented the TV, that helps out a little bit, So, and now that they invented a cell phone, but yeah, like meditation helps. I've done the Headspace app or whatever, which helps out a lot if you need some sleeping help. And like I've said before, the marijuana, I'm sure Donald approves of that. So
gets his endorsement.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta wait for those fucking spiders.
Yeah, I've always just go back. I've always taken lullaby as like this like fear of going to sleep kind of song.
I think it works so much better as a metaphor.
Yeah. So instead of some stupid song about a spider. And then I just kept the tape going because in that song I put on Assassination Street. That one goes out to the girl who got me into The Cure, Veronica. So she gave me Disintegration to listen to during accounting class. So, thank you. So wherever you are in this world. So, and then Halo, I bring in another B-side, but it was another song I put on my wife's mix CD. One of the first ones I made for her. So it definitely means a lot to me, and
perfect love song.
Yeah. You try, with love songs, it's like you can go really generic, or you can go something that actually you can associate stuff to, and like with lyrics, it just means more. So, and then Sugar Girl is second to last song. Again, another thing where my bullshit gets in the way of relationships. kind of thing, So it's a common theme in my life, and a common theme in the mixtape of just having your own shit get in the way of building a relationship with someone. So it's gonna happen.
Totally.
And then for the last track, I let it play out, so I have no idea where it cut off, but I took out my lullaby tribute to the Cure CD, and since I couldn't put it on the tape, I put the lullaby version of Homesick on there. So it's just an instrumental playing.
Actual children's lullabies. That
disc?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
and you did Homesick, you said?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I needed a couple extra seconds.
Yeah,
I think I had about a minute and 10 seconds, so I just put it on and let it play out.
It's a good way to do it. I've done that on past ones with different bands where you just put a little snippet of an instrumental or something in there if you need to. So, very cool. I like that. Yeah, that's a very listenable mix too.
I think so, and I think it covers a wide variety of The Cure, from like stuff that's. I was gonna put Reasons Why on here, but I decided against it. Yeah. Even though it's one of my favorite songs and like newer songs. I was gonna put Burn, but like I'm not trying to make this to like be like the cool kid in the club, or like what's the most listenable,
That's what I was having trouble with. I was like, I could fit this in somewhere, That's why, when mine doesn't have Just Like Heaven, I was just like, I can't just force it in somewhere. I mean, I know. So many great moments with Just Like Heaven, but there was never a direct connection.
All right, well, I want to hear your side too.
All right, I guess we'll flip the tape on mine here, and I promise no horrific car accidents or. It's the only good
well,
thing.
This is when this girl broke up with me after I had open heart surgery.
There's one breakup here, but other than that, it gets happy. So yeah, we're getting, where were we at? About year 2001, I think, when we flipped the tape over on My Life Story. Comes out blazing with happiness here. I figured it was a good lead-off track, and the only time I would put Why Can't I Be You is a lead-off track on a tape. So it's surprised me that it would even make the cut. But
I'm surprised too. I'm like in shock. Yeah.
So yeah, some time had passed since that last breakup, and move on to this new disaster, as I say. I met this younger girl, and she was 6 years younger than me, which is no big deal technically, but it was a huge deal at that time because of the age bracket that we were in. It was just like, no fucking way this was gonna work either. She was just going off to college, and I was just wrapped up, so it was like, definitely not a good combo. So even though we were like totally hit it off and had such great times just in conversation, even before all that, it was just kind of always in my head. I was like, there's no way, don't let yourself fall for this girl too hard, this isn't gonna work, dude. But sure enough, we started hanging out. Big fun came in like cool context of going to shows and long car rides and shit like that too. And like, since she was younger, I had all these bands I wanted to introduce her to and shit. And one of those, we ended up at some store, and I bought her Galore, as you know, bargain bin at that point or something probably, and I got her a copy of that. And Why Can't I Be is the first track on that. And
such an odd, like, we've never gone over comps, have we? Like the
not too much. Comps? Yeah, I did Galore versus Standing Beach. Yeah, it's a weird. It works great. I mean, I guess that when they come out with some encores and stuff, it is kind of it does have like a very like come out blazing kind of thing. But yeah, it's a weird. If your first listen of The Cure is Why Can't I Be You? So, I definitely played her tons of Cure before this, but this was like the first CD I think that I just bought her and left it there. So we listened to it a lot, and like Why Can't I Be You? And it just super sappy, happiest. You know, when you're in that kind of stage of a relationship, it makes the most sense. You know, it's never made that much more sense later. Even it's just kind of annoying, and but totally hit that moment. And so yeah, I always associate the fun era of that relationship with that song. And then, sure enough, it felt longer, but it was a little short of a year. Started to phase out as the spring turned, and so Caterpillar's the next song for the obvious metaphor. Didn't want to get tied down to an old dude coming out to visit her every weekend. Totally understandable. I couldn't even really argue with her. But yeah, pretty classic tale of, I couldn't hold it against her, so I kind of just swallowed all that pain and let her go on her way, and tried to keep it to myself, even though I'm sure it was pretty obvious. So Caterpillar, it was just kind of that metamorphosis of the relationship changing, as the song very plainly puts. And then the depression kicks in. So that was a hard breakup, just because I felt kind of stupid for letting myself be that vulnerable too, and really did have a good time. Yeah, so luckily it was the last one to date, so hopefully we'll keep it that way. It was the last epic breakup, but it was a bad one. I just fucking hit rock bottom, drank myself to oblivion, all the worst case scenarios. I was a total fucking mess for, it was weird. It was a long stretch. Definitely, this was the spring, and just kind of, but I found the good in it. I threw myself into like songwriting and shit a lot, and like tried to just really, focus on that. I cranked out a million songs that I still play to this day, even that I really like a lot, and so that was cool. And then the best part of it was only like 3 months after that horrible breakup and I was at rock bottom, I met my now wife at a bar downtown. We were all hanging out with a couple of mutual friends. And I met her and we just started hanging out and we all clicked instantly, and like we just hung out like constantly, almost like every weekend at least, and like I was still just a total fucking mess though, and she even expressed fairly early on that she was interested in me or whatever, or we should give it a shot, but I like insisted that we didn't, you know, like 50% me being smart, knowing I was a fucking mess, and I didn't want to mess it up with her because I really did like hanging out with her and liked her a lot, and you know, definitely 50% still not over the ex, you know, not that I knew I was gonna get back with her or anything. It was just done, but I wasn't ready to move on, so we hung out as like best buds for an entire year pretty much. It was really kind of weird in hindsight, but I'm glad we did it that way, because I would have totally fucked it up if we had jumped right into that relationship. So, I mean, I pretty much almost fucked it up a billion times anyway, but, so Sinking is the song I associate with the dark era, though.
Yeah.
So, as we said earlier, that one just really, mostly the, like, I tricked myself like everybody else kind of line where, how did I let myself fall for this, you know, college girl that hard, you know, like, well, I totally saw this coming. Why didn't I, you know better kind of thing. So Sinking definitely hit home there. And like I said,
you and I handled breakups completely differently. You drank yourself to death, and I stole, I think,
shit every
$500-$600 worth of alcohol from the grocery store I worked at, and then sold it. So
you just sold it? That's awesome.
I went to a, like, okay, this can stay in, so it's already past the point of like getting in trouble for it.
Yeah.
But I used to be a manager at a grocery store, like one of the managers, and they asked me to work at a different store. So like, I was working there for like a week, and I realized that they didn't have any of their like hard, expensive alcohol in any locked cases. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like moved the security cameras and did a bunch of different stuff, and ended up walking out with like, I think it was about $500-$600 worth of like I had Patron and
holy shit,
Belvedere and like all this shit that was like, you know, $60 to $100 a piece. And I went to a party that my friend was having, and I sold all of them for like half the price of whatever they were, and I made a couple $100. So
damn.
Yeah. So that's how I dealt with my breakup.
Well, it's a good thing we weren't hanging out then, because I would have totally bought and drank all of that liquor from you.
we would have been like, what the fuck is the name of that movie with Susan Sarandon? The one where
Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll steal everything, you drink it.
Yeah, sounds like a deal to me.
Yeah.
I'll destroy all that evidence. I'll drink it. There'll be no paper trail that leads it back to you. I'll even eat the bottle after.
We'll make sand out of the empty bottle. Sand out.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, that was a weird time, because I was trying to be my most self-destructive and horrible, but I had this, you know, wonderful woman here just like walking me through it all, going, "Are you done yet?" You know. So the final straw with the depression came when I was like, Cure's playing Coachella 2004. Fuck, I'm just going. I don't care anymore about anything. I'm buying the plane ticket, and I was having my I'm doing whatever I want moment. And she was there with me and was like, "Well, I'll go with you." And I was like, "You want to do that?" And it was like a lot of fucking cool bands on that bill. You know, it was like the Pixies had just reunited, so they were on it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Radiohead was headlining, which, you know, I never was crazy about, but something like that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go stand in a fucking field and watch Radiohead. Why not? And Flaming Lips, then like tons of those like smaller, like those Saddle Creek bands we were all into, you know, like Azure and Metric and Bright Eyes and all that shit, you know, we're all into that.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of cool ones on the bill. So we made it out there. The Cure played, and they debuted End of the World, you know, at that show basically, and played it on like Leno, I think it was. We saw in the hotel after night one, so it was a lot of that. Just End of the World was popping up, and so that song's next on the mix, and it's oddly, even just lyrically, it was exactly where we were in the relationship, where it was very like it could have fallen apart any month, you know, because I was still kind of a idiot, and you know, we were young, and so the whole go if you want to, that kind of thing, stay if you want to, whatever, but at the same time I couldn't love you more, you know, so it was, the whole world was kind of ending while taking off at the same time, so it's very fitting. So as much as I hate that album, that song will always be dear to my heart. So
the last time I saw them, they played that song, and my wife and I had just we were having a really kind of a dumb fight that morning before I left to go see them, and like they were playing it. I'm like, what the fuck are we arguing about? You know? And I'm just I was like, yeah. Like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh my god, yeah. I remember listening to that at Merriweather or wherever it was. And I was just like she wasn't there with me. It was the first time I'd seen The Cure since I think 2004 without her. So it was just like, yeah, this is stupid. Like,
again, he still hits it all. So so as we managed to fix all our rough spots, you know, we'd always kind of have them, you know, moments where, like I said, it could have totally fallen apart. Just started to click more and more. So I put Catch next because it was kind of represents us just falling more and more in love, even though it was a contender for us to like make our song kind of thing, but our wedding, which would eventually come, didn't really have our song kind of moment. So didn't really matter, even though the words, like you said, with Just Like Heaven and stuff, aren't really the most like positive, or it doesn't really work out. Catch isn't really that way either, you know, but it still feels super romantic, you know. Maybe it's just the video with the you know, somehow it just feels like the most romantic Cure song ever. But so we always love that one. And one of my all-time favorite lines, even though it felt soft at the time, I always used to wake up sore. That's like just a great line. Whether it be dirty or, you know, just in the sense of like, you know,
Robert's
whatever.
a dirty man.
So however you want to take it, but even just blissful love, you know, it's always, you know, the softest things. So that all merged into 2007. I had to go with the obvious choice for love song as we moved to Asheville together, bought a house, got engaged, we eloped in Key West. We were starting to put a whole formal wedding together, but she was raised Catholic, and there was all this like, so is it gonna be in the church? You have to go
too much fucking money.
Tons of money. Time. Lessons. I had to get like Catholic lessons or something. Then it came out that I don't think I've even been baptized ever. So they're like, well, Jesus, you can't do this. So we
bring Satan into this family. What's going on?
I was like, I don't know. It's like I didn't do anything wrong then. Now I need it. But
blame my parents.
So we figured the best thing to do is run off to Key West and basically get married.
Idea.
Out there and have a party later. Like a couple months later, we had a big, you know, farm party with all our family and stuff at my sister-in-law's house, and it was awesome. Family and friends all played love song, you know, for us. So that kind of was our song, I guess, by default, if nothing else. But it's perfect, you know. You can't deny that song. So
we had a party at Chuck E. Cheese the night before we got married. So it was just like just a Chuck E. Cheese full of like 20 to like 30-year-olds on like a Tuesday night, and they had this was in Chicago, so they had beer there, so like we bought pizza and like everything for everybody, and we bought like tokens for everybody, and we all just hung out for
that's awesome.
Like 4 hours, and then we made it to the courthouse in the morning, and that was it.
Perfect. That was way better than a big old crazy church wedding.
Oh God!
And everyone just faking.
Yeah, I had a niece that spent like $5,000 on a photographer, and I'm just like, you guys.
Yeah, it's
like,
just crazy.
Why? I don't get it. If that's your thing, that's cool. I don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what we got to the point where we felt like we were just kind of faking it or phony, you know. We're not both of us don't go to church or anything, so it would totally just be for the parents, you know, which you know, to a certain degree is nice, but not for your wedding, you know. I was like, we'll just do that on a normal weekend. We'd be glad to.
Love that idea.
You know, but like this is kind of about us. It's our wedding, you know. So that worked out good, as all's well in Loveville for a while now, at least. And moving on to other tragedies, this whole time I'd been like studying and getting my teaching license and everything. All I wanted to do was become a middle school teacher because I wanted to help the most troubled children. I remember, as we said earlier, 6th grade was terrible. That's what I want to do. I want to make a difference. I want to help these kids.
You can come over here and deal with my 6th grader then.
Fuck that. I'm done with that shit. So this is kind of me throwing in the towel on teaching, and the next song was Closed Down. So it's about 2009 at this point. I've been doing a lot of subbing. I transferred all my Virginia license stuff to North Carolina. I get in there for like half a year. Then they get me in full-time to teach 7th grade social studies and science, which I don't even fucking do science, but I did it for them. Just I took the whole test and everything just to help them out, and so I could stay on board. They totally made it sound like they were going to keep me on. Super long story of like horrible administrative bullshit that I went through. They were pulling all these kids out of my classes and putting all the troubled kids in my classes just to like pawn them off on me because I was like the filler teacher. It was like awful. And the principal was a total twat, and he was just like retiring that year, so he didn't fucking care about anything. It was just like so gross, and there was all the No Child Left Behind testing shit going on. It was just horrible. And the kids were supposed to be horrible. I didn't even hold it against them that they were a bunch of nutballs. It was like the worst part of town, horrible school. It was like worst case scenario. But by the end of the year, I was all like, so what's up? You're going to keep me on? I did this whole fucking, year for you. Then they're like, oh, we got all these hiring freezes. And like, they just like dragged their feet. They didn't hire me. So I was like, screw this. And I was like, I'm getting a job at the used bookstore. But, so it's been that, and then like working in a lab, and then I've gone back to like elementary school part-time stuff and subbing, but it's just sad. And Closed Down sums up the whole just depression of being, I feel like I've figured out pretty much everything as an adult at this point, like being a good dad and being a decent human and shit, and hopefully a good husband and all, but it's like, I just can't figure the career thing out to save my life, man. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck is up, but I just feel like so depressed when I think about it. Closed Down till it hits it. I'm running out of time. Yeah. It's like I've got to figure this out, man, but I got nothing. So,
you know what I always tell people, because I feel that way too sometimes, and like I hear it from people like my age, your age.
Yeah.
Like, Cormac McCarthy didn't become successful until his like late 60s.
Wow.
And he didn't start writing his big books until like 10 years after that. So like 70s he was writing The Road and like No Country for Old Men. So like you never have to push yourself, man. You'll get there.
Yeah. Thanks.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, it is. I try to keep that in mind, and I ultimately put all that, it'd be nice to have money and stuff, but at the same time, health insurance, especially if I keep breaking shit. But at the same time, it's like, to me, being a decent human and husband and father is like way more important than, it's like, than slaving over some career that was just gonna destroy my soul anyway and make me totally hate children and be a shitty person. So I think I'm done with that for now, but at the same time, who knows? So after Closed Down gets a little sad, we'll pop it up here in 2012. My son is born. Hudson's born. Love Cats. I can't even hear that damn song anymore without thinking of him. So so I had to put Love Cats in here, and just his joy and love that he brings to my life and the world, I feel is captured in that goofy song too, so it's perfect. So even though Pictures of You was the first song he ever heard, Love Cats is his jam. So
he doesn't know that. It's all good.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
He doesn't remember.
So on the home stretch here then, as we're getting into 2015, life's going good. I start the Holy Hour podcast, so I put the song Holy Hour here. As literal as it is. So I've been working at this medical lab processing fucking bodily fluids. That was my great other career choice.
You probably processed some of mine.
Yeah, and everybody's, all kinds of celebrities and everything. So I'll tell you off air all the cool celebrity urines I got. But it was great. Actually, it was a horrible job. Real terrible, but I listened to tons of podcasts while I was there. It was the first time I really dove into podcast, and I was like, half this stuff is horrible. I could do this shit. so that sparked it. And then after a few like overly long conversations with Donald about Cure thoughts and this and that from our childhood, I was like, we should record this shit. And here we are 5 years later. So Holy Hour, even though lyrically I guess it kind of fits too in the idea of the Church of the Cure, you know, and how it's become such a weird thing.
The priests.
Yeah. So here we are. And then following that is In Between Days, but for a kind of stranger reason of the lyrical meaning more. I kind of feel like I'm singing it now to like my youth, and especially in the last year, I feel like I'm just getting older and feeling my age more and more, and like getting banged up from life physically and emotionally and everything, and how the whole like go on, who cares, and then come back to my youth, you know. So that's kind of how I feel with In Between Days now. And you know, something about, you know, just watching your kid grow up makes you feel really old too, but at the same time it's a wonderful thing. But yeah, you're like, god damn, where are the years going, you know? So
yeah,
something about In Between Days kind of captures that in a very pop way. So
I feel it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, you just turned 40, right? It keeps it keeps getting faster. So
oldest son's turning 12 this year.
Wow.
So
yeah,
it's 12 and 9. So yeah, and I just turned 40. So it's
it's crazy. But
yeah.
So yeah, my last closer song then for side B is again kind of very reflective back on everything, and I think the most fitting one is Out of This World for that.
Nice.
Feels at times a bit like a deathbed looking back, but hopefully it's not quite that there, you know. It's like 40s, the Blood Flowers era for Robert too, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, the whole idea of just kind of taking the whole tape in at this point and appreciating it and looking back one more time before it's time to go again, kind of thing. So, and it's a good closer, actually. All those
it is a really good closer,
those openers and kind of double as good closers a lot of times too. So
yeah,
that's my life.
Yeah, didn't get anything from Blood Flowers or Faith on here. So
yeah,
Faith was a little bit too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess Holy Hour I had in there, but that's kind of a
yeah. That was the only one I thought about. I'm just like, I think that's like too.
Yeah, like funeral party and shit.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. And the song Faith is like, here we go.
We already did that. I can't.
Yeah,
part of me was
like,
I can't go back and listen to that album again. This soon. So yeah.
And then Watching Me Fall took up all of side B.
Woo!
So I had two songs. I had It
Just
Used
a
to Be
Weedy Burton
Me
on repeat.
and, yeah. So yeah, that's, and didn't have any cutoffs. So
good.
So
Good. Awesome.
So that's my life in Cure songs, and I feel hopefully everyone out there got to know us both. A little bit better now, you know.
Yeah.
So when we start referencing weird ass angles on stuff, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember. That's where Chaz is coming from."
So that's why that girlfriend broke up with Gavin.
Yeah, it's like, wow. For a guy that didn't have many relationships, they all seem to end bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know what the common denominator there is. Certainly not me.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what the problem was. I guess they had to end to get to the one that was good. Right?
Yeah,
so
that's what
it's all
always,
good.
Yeah. It's fate.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird just thinking of these kind of things and taking these little self journeys and how these songs have been there for so long and how fitting they are, you know. And it's kind of sweet, like you're saying, with these Cure moments, like we've said a billion times too, or just it's amazing how they can just save you in those moments of like when everything's falling apart, and like whether you're listening to it in the Target parking lot or, you know, like stewing in it, you know, for months. But you know what I mean? It's just it's almost like, I wonder if other bands are like this. Do people sit around and like listen to like Hootie and the Blowfish like B-sides and be like, this sums up my life, you know?
I mean, I can tell you just from personal experience, yes.
Yeah.
Big Hootie fan.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So Hootie in particular?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hootie. Yeah, just Hootie.
Okay.
The Blowfish I don't really care for, but I
Yeah,
thought
seems...
about that too. I think that like The Cure is so all over the place that I feel like they have a song for just about anything.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. The fact that, most of these like failed relationships, I had like one that starts off the good part and one that like ends the, so it's like, how the hell do you do that? Like, what band would be able to do that for? How about, did you get to decorate your cassette cover? That's always a huge part of
No, I did
cassettes.
not yet. So I lost the cover somewhere.
Okay.
So I am in the process of trying to find it, and then I'm going to write out all the names and everything on the cassette.
Excellent.
So once I get around to that.
Cool. You'll have to send me some pictures. We'll post the tapes in our thread there so people can see them on Instagram and such. And what should we do with these? Do you think we should make a contest out of them? Would you be willing to part with your cassette?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if anybody would really want to relive our personal journeys, but might be kind of fun just to do an online Instagram contest or something. Or
does anybody want an outdated medium to listen to music? And
it's like you probably can't listen to it on anything, and it's nothing that you'll relate to other than it being Cure songs. But it could be fun.
I'm sure you've all heard. So
yeah, exactly. There's no rarities, but. I don't know. We'll work out the details, and then a little heads up to anyone that's actually listening to this. You could keep your eyes peeled. You could win 2 cassettes from us to get to know us even better.
There you go.
And we'll figure it out. So that'd be kind of fun. And top of that, and if anybody else out there likes this idea and they want to do their journey, write out the track listing for us maybe. But I strongly recommend it for a cool way to start out the year and therapeutic way of thinking about your life while still, nerding out on Cure songs. It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'd love to see anybody's out there. If you want to list them in Facebook thread or just email them to me if you want. We'll share them or keep it personal, however you want to do it. But I would love to see. I think that was
around 90 minutes.
Yeah, 90 or 60. I think just be clear of what cuts off, all the tape rules, like say what cuts, what's the size tape you had. Is there any bleed in from your hootie tape that you're taping over, so, any of that. But I love the idea of like someone could look at this tape and that knows us and know what it was, if they looked at your tape, they would be like, this is Chaz's fucking whole life on this tape, man. Might be a stretch. I don't know if maybe I'll just leave it around the house to see if my wife, I kind of tipped her off that we were doing this, but at the same time.
Yeah, I told my wife that too.
I don't think she knows which songs were like her era and which ones are what, and so I kind of did breakup stuff a little heavy on mine, so I don't know if I really want her to dive into it anyway.
Gavin, we need to go over this breakup that happened.
Wait a minute. I think I made it clear I moved on. So. So I guess on that note, we won't make it a long goodbye since I'm famous for those. But anything else you want to add, Chaz, before we sign off?
No, just wear a mask and stay safe, and
yeah, keep it stretching out through this year. Hang in there and watch out for yourself and others. Can't agree more. So hope everybody's starting out the year good and safe, and we'll keep these episodes rolling. I think we got some good ones on the horizon. I don't want to disclose too many just yet in case they don't pan out. But yeah, we got a good list going. So thanks to everybody out there that sent in some ideas after that last one too. So we've got a good list going. So cool, man. Well, I'll catch you soon, Chaz, and hopefully catch you guys out there soon too. And for the whole hour, I'll say talk hard. See you later.
Or whatever that is.
Yeah, someone has to howl. Alright, again, a very special thanks to Chaz, my hetero Valentine, for this year. Thanks for partaking in this episode and letting us share this for our Valentine's Day special. It initially wasn't meant to be that way. If you hadn't pieced that together here and there, or a few clues that this was recorded with the first episode fresh into the new year. And since we ended up talking so much about relationships past and present, I figured it was the closest thing we had to a love-fueled Valentine's episode. So why not, right? Valentine's is a stupid holiday, but hope everybody out there has a great one. I think today, when it releases, it will be Valentine's Day. So whatever, have a great day with your significant other or your family or your pets, or just your Cure records. So as long as it's filled with love, then that's the point. So enjoy the day as we wrap up here. And I'd also like to send some love out. At the time of recording this, we have just launched our Patreon page here for the Holy Hour podcast, and we've had the first few pioneers of the Patreon page. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to Donna, Craig, Matt, Jeff, and Jeff. We got 2 Jeffs. You know you can't go wrong when you got 2 Jeffs involved. And those guys expect a mix CD in the mail soon and some stickers. 3 of those guys, Matthew, Craig, and Jeff, are going to be curating their own Holy Hour podcast in some form or another, where they're going to tell us what direction they'd like us to take for an episode. So we look forward to lots of cool Patreon stuff. If none of that made sense, then I just recommend going to patreon.com/The Holy Hour Podcast and check it out. See what we're offering over there and see if that'd be something that you're into. Otherwise, we just got the usual stuff to plug. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and Apple streaming podcast services. And Instagram is where you're going to catch all the updates of what the hell we're up to. So go to the Holy Hour Podcast on Instagram, and you can find us there. Look for maybe a contest here. Like we said, we're going to try to maybe give away these cassettes that we made. So it'll pop up on Instagram. If you're interested and you don't do the Instagram, just email me too. I'll include you somehow. So on top of that, the Facebook page is where you can add in your 2 cents for every episode. There'll be a thread there posted on the Facebook group. And if none of that makes sense and you just want to write me an email, you can always do that at gavinconnor@gmail.com. And I will definitely get back to you as soon as possible. If you need a damn new shirt for this coming year, all your clothes look silly, or if it was a really stressful holiday into the new year and you've packed on some pounds, buy some new clothes. Look for the 17secondshirts.bigcartel.com and you get yourself a new big old Cure shirt, or a smaller one. Maybe your New Year's resolution's working great and you've lost 40 pounds already. You need some smaller Cure shirts. Chaz will hook you up there, so go find what the latest pre-order up. As of now, it might just be wrapping up, but he's doing an awesome Reflections one. So hopefully you didn't miss out on that. But maybe if you even are super sweet and contact him, he can still include you in it. Speaking of Reflections, it's not too early to start thinking about in April. We got Faith 40th birthday anniversary coming up. So we're definitely going to do a listener's perspective out there, and we can't have you all on as guests, so start thinking if you might want to just record yourself recording some thoughts on faith and how it's changed your life over these 40 glorious years of its own life. And think about it. Maybe there's something that we haven't touched on that it's been driving you crazy and you want to share about the album Faith, or a particular song off of Faith. We'll start hitting you all up for that more as the month approaches, but like I said, never too soon to start thinking about it. If you want to contribute, we'd love to have you. Otherwise, I gotta stop yapping, so I'll just let you go. Thanks so much for listening, and talk hard.
One last time before this time